If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group. And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish. Rubbish.
That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs
What was the
do.
17.3 million what?
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's really a community within the community. Anybody can go into Village, Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
All right, dear listener. Buy our merch indeed.
A child shall lead them. Guys, the link for our merch is in basically every one of our videos. So you can check that out. Click on the link.
Oh my God, people are so stupid. All right, dear
Ridiculous.
listener. You know who's
but
not
this
stupid?
is, yeah, I was just going to say,
It's
this
our
is...
DJ Rented Reality. DJ Rented
Yep,
Reality.
check out his art.
Check out his art. One of the best in the business.
This is one of his pieces right here. Boop.
Yeah. This John right here is Rented Reality's own making. That looks like the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And a dragon. We actually have an exclusive Rented Reality piece. That's for me. He said it explicitly. It's for me. It's not for you.
No, when he was here, he said it was for us.
All right, guys. Here we go. Last song, Mastodon
Gigantium.
Gigantium, I think it is. All right. This is. We've been really. I'm really happy that AT. No, this is not like a hint to anybody else. I'm just saying I'm glad because this is a band that we haven't really done. And so to be able to hear 3 songs
in a row,
back
yeah, is really cool.
Is really, really cool because it gets me, close. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Gigantium, Mastodon, let's do it.
Not
Oh, righty then.
Okay, so Bran Daler said, this is another one I wrote when I was in that apartment. I call it the sadness hole. I don't want to get into why I was there, but just to be clear, it wasn't because I was strung out on drugs or anything like that. It was a personal time. But the last riff really sounded like the end of something. It's sad sounding, but there's also some hope there. So we put some stringed arrangements on it, and Brent did this really beautiful guitar solo. The last line is for Nick John. The mountains we made in the distance will be with us forever. I think it's a beautiful farewell.
For who? Nick John?
Yeah.
I think that's probably their manager. It's probably their manager who died. Because remember he said that was a father figure song? And it was like a... Yeah. So that was probably the manager. So probably... as soon as I typed Nick John, it said Matt. Yeah, there he died in 2018. Damn.
And this came out in 2021.
He had pancreatic cancer. Son of a bitch.
That's what happened to my uncle.
Okay, so it's basically part of this album is dealing with that.
Yeah.
With that loss. Makes sense. That line, "You deserve to be happy," that kind of popped off in chat. People were like, how can you say... AT was saying, how can you say anybody deserves to be happy? I don't know. How is that possible? Like,
Yeah.
That's a big question about deserving to be happy, or that's a very provocative statement. You deserve to be happy.
Well, I think there's a difference between happiness and joy.
Yeah, I hear that so many times in church, and I always thought that was bullshit.
I've never heard it in church. I just think that there's a difference, because I think that, like, you deserve happiness. Like, to me, happiness is everything is going your way, and how are you not going to be happy when everything is all well with everything? Joy to me is, even if things are not well, like, you can still, like, for instance.
Yeah, but is that just a distinction that you made up, or... Because I heard that all the time. Hal used to say that all the time in church. But where did you hear it from?
I didn't hear it from anywhere. It was what came in my head, because when I was hearing this...
between happiness and joy?
Yeah, because when I was hearing this, like, the middle... Where was it? Okay, I just need you to whisper, "Tell me all is well. You deserve to be happy, not stuck knee deep in hell." When I heard that part, so obviously... we're all going to interpret this differently by our own experiences and whatever. But when I heard that part, like, so in my relationship with God, as I've been a Christian, there are times where I know for sure I heard God talking to me, and I've heard stuff that was so clear, like, even like, that's kind of weird sounding because I'm not giving the whole story, but like specific numbers that turned out to be the exact numbers needed on multiple occasions. So I'm not talking about the lottery. But stuff that would make it,
might as well have been.
yeah, stuff to specifically help people, and how that all worked itself out. So, and like, I think that when I'm not really sure, because I'm kind of like, I'm treading this out as I'm like thinking it, so I didn't have time to pre-think about it. But like, okay, so in the environment that I grew up in, perfectionism felt like my parents expected perfection. And I felt that every environment that we were placed in also expected perfection, from the schools to church to, everybody. And even if somebody didn't have that mindset, because my parents expected it, then they raised the standard. Because I remember one time I was like, well, at least this teacher's not going to expect us to be perfect. But then once my parents had a talk with them, then they got strict with us, but not everybody else in the class. So life was just hard and strict all around. But I always felt like God was talking to me, like, all through my growing up years. And so I think that it didn't like have a probably really negative effect on me personally if I didn't have that positivity coming from God. So, like, now I'm at a point in my life for some reason where I tend to get a lot more discouraged a lot more quickly. I feel overwhelmed a lot more quickly, or I feel like, wow, like, this is never going to change, whatever. I don't know how to describe that. I assume that it's just like a phase of my life and that I'm going to come out on the other side of it and I'll be better for it. But like the other day, there was something that I was particularly worried about not being able to fix a certain thing. And in conversations that I've had with other people, I just felt like sometimes you feel so discouraged about something, it actually makes it so you don't do anything. Like you're actually going backwards. Like almost the conversation was so, I don't know, it affected you so negatively. It would have been better off not to have had the conversation, I guess you could say. But anyway, so I was just thinking about it. It wasn't even necessarily praying, but at the same time, I think my heart was kind of like, oh God, what am I supposed to do about this? And then, I just felt like I heard something like this thought in my head, but also kind of like this warmness inside that kind of made me feel like there's a direction and whatever. Anyway, that what was said was kind of private that I'm not going to share publicly. But I was like, oh, that's right. I remember that voice, because God has a way of like correcting things with us or like changing things about us, but it's in a really encouraging way. Like it doesn't feel like you're knee deep in hell when he's talking to you. Like the world can make you feel knee deep in hell, or you can make yourself feel knee deep in hell. But when he talked to me, it's never felt like that all of my life. It's always been, very encouraging in a sense. So, when I heard that line, I was like, that's sometimes how I feel when I feel super discouraged about stuff. I'm like, I just need him to whisper, like, it's all going to be okay. Like, I just want to know from God that we're headed in the right direction still. And even though I have this or that problem, like we're going to make it through to the other side. So for me, you deserve to be happy. Like, do we deserve to be happy? Like, I think that it would be awesome if we were all happy. Do I think it's possible for everybody to be happy? No, I don't. Because we live in a world that's, there's painful things that happens with this world. So, we were at the park yesterday, and all my kids are running around. We've got 6 and I've got another one growing here. So that's 7. And I was so happy about, all of that. And then I landed in a discussion with another woman, and she was talking about a lot of the losses that she's gone through, a lot of miscarriages. And then, obviously I was talking about mine. And when I was in that situation, like I was still happy about the kids that I have and the baby that's growing inside me, but I was still sad that there's a baby's face that I never saw and I never got to hold. And so to me, that was kind of like, like the sorrowful yet always rejoicing sort of thing. I do think that that's in the Bible, that happiness, I feel like happiness that's like the shot of adrenaline that I get when I'm going to, I keep feeling like I really want to go to a theme park. I can't because I'm pregnant. But when I'm not pregnant, no, you can't go on any of the rides. What fun is that? So, like when like next year, I guess, after, but I'll probably be pregnant again. Who knows? Anyway.
I need a girl.
So, like, to me, that's like the happiness, or you're going to a party. Oh, like maybe you got the date that you really want to get. Oh, you're having a conversation with somebody you really wanted to have. Oh, somebody just told you like something positive about yourself. To me, that's happiness. Are we all going to get happiness? No, we're not. But I think that there's a sort of, and I do think that this has to do a lot with your outlook on life. Like if you believe that everything happens like for zero reason at all, and everything's just firing off on all cylinders, and life happens to you, and that there's no difference from the beginning or the end of your life, it's all just a series of chaotic moments that collect together, and that is your life. Well, yeah, that's a pretty miserable thought process. But if you come from the standpoint that literally everything from the start of your of when you were conceived, even before that, the thoughts of you, all the way till forever, all of it is on a timeline, and all of it is being worked out to absolutely perfection. And that when you get to the end of it, you're going to say, wow, he was really working all, because in the Bible, it says that he's working all things for our good, to those who are called according to his purposes. So if you believe that he really is doing it for your good, and that in the end, when you look back, you're going to say, oh, that's why. Like, the example that Vin brings up a lot, which I think works, is, when you bring your kid for their shots, when they're just babies, you can't explain to them. And obviously, if you're an anti-vaxxer, this doesn't work for you, but, when you bring your kids to get a shot. You're doing it because you don't want them to get polio, and have
measles, mumps, or rubella.
Yeah, to have some of these issues later on in life. And so you're holding them down on the table, and so they're like, what's this? This is the first time this has ever happened? What's dad doing? And then all of a sudden they get jabbed with these needles, and they don't understand at all. Like, it really looks like you're a really friggin' horrible parent. Why are you doing this to me? But as they get older, they understand, now, when we bring our 12 and 13-year-old kids for shots, they know what's going on. They know it's going to hurt, but they also know that it's for their good. So that's kind of how, like, and again, like the first song that we had kind of brings this kind of circle back around, is your reality creates stuff for you. So if you believe that it's all working out for your good, then you're going to have a different outlook. So, when I had my miscarriage, as painful as it was, and I don't think that I was able to properly grieve for that because there was a lot of complications around that area, but I did believe from the second that I found out I was losing the baby that God was going to work it out for my good, and that God was going to bring good things from it. And, when I was sitting with this woman, she's holding one of my kids, and, all of my kids are running all around and talking with all this life and energy. And I felt the baby move inside me, and like, there's all this going on. And then she started talking about the losses that she experienced. And I was once again grateful, as sad as I was for the loss that I went through. I was very grateful that I had like an olive branch that I could reach to her and say, I know, like, I felt that pain too. And, so, and that's happened more times. Obviously I'd love to have that baby with us. And, I think about basically, right now we have 4 that's in the older crew, but there would actually be 5 in the older crew.
Right.
And I think about stuff like that, like but
10 or 11.
Right. So that would be,
yeah.
That one wouldn't be, yeah.
That crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, stuff like that is hard to think about. But again, if it's just random happenstance and there's literally no purpose or meaning to it, then that's a lot more discouraging. But to me, that's the difference. You know what I mean? Like, so I was sad, but I was still happy, but not like happy like a theme park. But there was still like a joy inside that I was able to help her through my pain. But that to me is joy, not happiness.
Yeah, I think this is one of those paradoxes in life where if you walk around with the concept that you deserve to be happy, you're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
And the minute you let go of that concept, then you're most likely going to experience real and true happiness. Because happiness is a metaphysical state of being. And when you use the term deserve, that means you earned it. Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
obviously as a Christian, I don't operate with God based on what I deserve. Because if I did, all I deserve from Allah is misery. So, like, to me, obviously, right off the bat, I'm like, no, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't know what you're talking about. But that doesn't mean that God doesn't want me happy. Mm-hmm. God wants me to be happy, and I want to be happy. And so, but I do think letting go of the I deserve, like I've done enough things to earn happiness, is, I think is one of life's, there's about 4 lessons in life that needs to be learned, and that's almost at the top of them. This concept that you deserve for things to go the way you want them to go, which is 90% of our happiness most of the time, is this went the way I wanted it to go, now I'm happy. It didn't go the way I didn't want it to go, now I'm unhappy. The idea that you deserve for things to go the way you want them to go is insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's funny because when AT was saying, maybe that's like a residue of capitalist bullshit. It is, because, as Westerners, particularly American Westerners, when you live in an affluent country, Americans don't realize how absolutely rich they are.
Yeah.
And I always can tell when people start talking shit about Elon Musk, like, oh, he could solve world hunger tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're an American, shut the fuck up. Honestly, shut the fuck up. And I'm saying this as a person that's been in a homeless shelter. I don't care. I live like a king. I've seen poverty in the world. I've seen real poverty. I was a homeless shelter. I lived like a fucking king compared to actual poverty that I've actually seen in the world. So when I hear people say that, I'm like, nah, bro, we can end hunger tomorrow. You don't realize how rich you are as an American. You don't realize, like, I'm listening to these people complain about the shit that they have to deal with, and like, it's not fun. But I'm like, I could tell this person's never been to a untouchable ghetto in India. Like literally untouchable, where they're still under that system and they're literally not to be touched, and their children are playing in raw fucking sewage and don't know the difference. Like, people really live like that in the world, bruh. So this idea that I deserve to be happy, why? What have I done to earn all this happiness? It's ridiculous. The other thing that's interesting to me about this is that the guy had pancreatic cancer. So when he says, you know, you deserve to happiness and not go through all this, be deep in hell, I'm pretty sure there's probably an immediate application of that, because cancer is a motherfucker. And it's a fucking.
Well, my uncle had pancreatic cancer. It was horrible.
So I think in that instance, I don't think he's making a theological statement. He's just saying this is a person he loved very deeply, and he'd much rather see them go on to the next life than have to, you know, suffer horribly as people suffer with cancer. And so some of it's like, come on, bro, you're reading a little bit too much into it, and I agree with that. But I think, like, on the macro level, one of the major issues that I have is, one of the things that we don't realize when we suffer is that our suffering brings joy to other people. And obviously, as a Christian, I already have a default framework for that, because Jesus' suffering resulted in happiness for me. But, you know, there's that line that Paul says, I bear all things for the sake of the elect. So Paul had an understanding that when he was suffering, his suffering was going to create joy in the lives of other people. And so, like, even in this situation, we're vibing. This entire night is basically based on Mastodon. We've had like 3 out of 5 songs are Mastodon songs. And they're all from the same record, and they were heavily inspired by the death of this guy. So it happens over. I think metalheads are the best sufferers on the planet, and the best argument for God's goodness and suffering, because it happens over and over again. Some horrible thing happens to these people, they make an incredible record that saves the lives of hundreds of people or brings joy and happiness to thousands and thousands of people. And it's like, all of us are like that. It doesn't matter. Even if you're not in a big band, if you can suffer well and channel your suffering into something productive, you are going to help other people be happy. So I don't care what adjective you use, whether it's deserve, whether it's I wish, I don't care what it is. That's got to be a factor. When you're going through whatever it is you're going through, you got to think to yourself, how can I channel this and make this helpful to other people? And sometimes the way you do that is just it's not doing anything. Just handling it well and being around your friends and letting your friends love you is a way of increasing happiness for everybody. So, like, that's kind of my take on it. It was very fascinating listening to you talk about it, but it was a deep song because, you know, it's the last. I checked. It was the last song on that record. So, you know, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, the mountains that we built together at a distance. You know. It's like, and that's kind of my perspective on the previous conversation. You know, like when relationships are over, I always think to myself, hey, we did something really cool there. Like there's people that we built something. I mean, me and you were the main players, but there are people that we built something really awesome with. That we had insane celebrations with, like jumping around, insane, crying, happy. Miracles happened. People like brought back, like on the brink of death, RIPs on Facebook, and they're fucking. We prayed and they're like, so there's so many cool, and like I look back and say, yeah, we did that, man. Like, I don't care what the relationship status is now. Where I'm at with it is like, yo, we did that shit. That's amazing. That was legendary. I'm so happy we were able to do that. And like, you've gotta you've got to look at life that way. You got to look at those things that you built together with those people, even if they're dead or you guys aren't friends, whatever. It's an amazing and a beautiful thing. And I just think there's so many lessons in this song that are just, if we took the time to learn them, it would be crazy. So I really, really like the song a lot. What'd you give it?
I feel like they're all gotten the same score from me, 9.7.
Yeah, this is another .7 for me as well. 9.7. Shout out to Adam Keene. Speaking of suffering,
I know.
He's like, how late am I?
Tony was like, end of the stream late.
End of the stream late, sir. What a freaking stream. Shout out to DJ AT. Again, rendering reality art. Check him out on...
I think it was an interesting topic. Things about your reality and everything, and our stream was really messed up at the beginning, but that was your reality. That wasn't our experience.
That wasn't our reality.
We were very much on point, and we were ready.
Gang. Shout out to AT. Shout out to Amy Lee Forever. Shout out to Sean King. You stupid motherfucker.